Welcome to Boring Finance for Sleep. In this podcast, we dive gently and methodically into the driest corners of the financial world, so you can relax your mind, slow your breathing, and drift peacefully into sleep. Tonight, we'll explore a topic that many of us have experienced: the allure of a brand new car, the soft leather, the shining paint, and of course, that new car smell. But is it truly a scent of success? Or is it the faint whisper of poor financial decisions slowly evaporating into the air? Let's begin. Let the hum of depreciation and the whisper of interest rates rock you gently to sleep. That smell, you know the one. It's crisp. It's chemical. It feels like power and freedom. But technically, it's just volatile organic compounds. Petroleum-based solvents slowly evaporating from vinyl, plastics, and synthetic adhesives, a soft, invisible mist of off-gassing chemicals. Yet somehow, we've been trained to love it. Since the automotive boom of the 1950s, car culture has embedded itself deeply into the American way of life. The open road, the family road trip, the glimmering showroom under fluorescent light. We began to associate cars with more than just transportation. They became a symbol of status, of achievement, of independence. In 2014 alone, car companies spent over $14.2 billion on advertising. That number has only gone up. Why? Because it works. The commercials promised more than just four wheels and a steering wheel. They promised admiration from our neighbors, smiles from our children, and the idea that behind the wheel, we were finally in control. But let's pause and think, what if this freedom is an illusion? Because the same car that gives you that rush of empowerment might also be taking away your financial peace. Not all at once, but slowly, quietly, like air leaking from a tire you didn't know was punctured. And so, the journey begins, not down the scenic highway, but into the quiet back roads of auto financing, depreciation, and financial mindfulness. Take a deep breath in and out, and let's move gently forward into Chapter 2. Let's take a closer look at what's really going on when you decide to buy a new car. At first glance, it seems like a simple transaction. You pick a color, you sign some papers, you drive away. But underneath that glossy surface, there's a triple threat slowly eating away at your finances. The first part of the threat is debt. Most people don't pay for a new car in full. Instead, they borrow, they take out a loan, and agree to pay it back with interest. Interest. That slow, persistent cost that creeps into every monthly payment. Quiet, predictable, unforgiving. So, let's say you borrow money to buy your car. You've just committed to spending more than the sticker price, because now you owe the lender too. That's threat number one. You're paying interest on a depreciating asset. The second threat is maintenance. Even a brand new car requires care. Tires wear down, fluids need replacing. Things rattle, click, and break. And as the car ages, these costs increase. Even the quiet hum of your engine comes with hidden fees. Oil changes, brake pads, insurance premiums, annual registration fees, they all add up. And then, there's the third threat, the silent, invisible one, the one that starts the moment you drive off the lot. It's called depreciation. Your car is losing value, not slowly, but instantly. The second your tires touch the public road, your brand new car is no longer brand new. It's used, and it's worth less. In fact, most new cars lose about 10% of their value the moment they leave the dealership. And within 5 years, they'll have lost roughly 63% of their original price. Let's pause there. That means, if you bought a car for $30,000, in 5 years, it may only be worth around $11,100. A decline so steep, it would make a ski slope look flat. Now imagine, what if you treated other purchases the same way? Would you spend thousands of dollars on something that loses most of its value before you finish paying it off? Probably not. But with cars, it's common, accepted, even celebrated. Let's take a slow breath. In and out. This isn't meant to alarm you, just to help you see clearly. Cars are useful. They are often necessary. But they are not investments. They are expenses. And sometimes, very expensive ones. In the next chapter, we'll take an even closer look at that mysterious word we just mentioned, depreciation. It might sound boring, and it is, but it's also quietly powerful, like a tide pulling money away without a sound. So, let's coast gently into chapter 3. Let's talk about something that's happening all the time, even when you're not watching. It's called depreciation. Depreciation is a gradual decline in value of something you own. It's not loud, it's not dramatic. It's slow, uninterrupted, and guaranteed. If you've ever bought ice cream on a hot day, you've seen it happen. Imagine, you buy a perfect scoop of ice cream for $4. You hold it in your hand, proudly. But you get distracted for a few minutes. And when you look down, it's already melting. The texture is softer. The scoop is sliding. The cone is getting soggy. And the puddle is growing. You wouldn't try to resell it now for $4. In fact, you'd be lucky if someone took it from you for free. That is depreciation. Now, replace the ice cream with a brand new car. It's just left the dealership. The paint is flawless. The engine is whisper quiet. The new car smell is still floating gently in the air. But the moment you turn the corner, its value begins to melt. Not literally, but financially. Let's look at the numbers, slowly. On average, a new car loses about 10% of its value immediately. As soon as you drive it off the lot, that's day one. Over the first year, it might lose 20%. By the end of 5 years, the average vehicle will have lost 63% of its original value. That's nearly 2/3. So if you bought a $30,000 vehicle, in 5 years, it may be worth about $11,100. And yes, you still need to maintain it. You still need to insure it. You may still be making payments on it, or while it becomes less valuable every day. Now pause here. Take a deep breath in and out. Let this truth settle in like warm sand. A car is not an investment. It is a declining asset. That means it gets less valuable, even if you do everything right. Unlike a home, which may appreciate in value over time, or a retirement fund, which can grow, a vehicle almost always moves in one direction, down. Of course, some cars hold value better than others. Luxury models, limited editions, collector's items. But for the average driver, with the average car, the pattern is the same. It's not about being reckless. It's about being aware, so that you can plan and not be surprised, so that your money can go where it grows, not where it melts. In the next chapter, we'll examine a popular alternative, leasing. People say it's more flexible, less commitment, less responsibility. But is that really true? Or is it just another version of the same expensive story? Let's turn the page and quietly roll forward into chapter 4. Let's say you've heard the warnings. You understand that buying a brand new car leads to heavy depreciation. You want to avoid the sting of long-term car payments. And so someone suggests leasing. It sounds appealing. Lower monthly payments. A newer car. Less hassle with selling later. It's positioned as a clever workaround, a shortcut, a smart modern solution. But let's slow down and take a closer look. Because leasing is not a path forward. It's a quiet circle. One that often brings you right back to where you started. Let's begin with what a lease actually is. A car lease is essentially a long-term rental agreement. You're paying the company to use their vehicle for a limited period of time, usually 2 to 4 years. At the end, you return the car, and in most cases, you walk away with nothing. The car is not yours. There is no ownership. There is no equity. It's like renting an apartment, except instead of paying to live in it, you're paying to drive it. Let's look at how leasing companies set their prices. It starts with one word you already know: depreciation. They calculate how much value the car is expected to lose during your lease period. Then, they charge you for that exact amount. Plus, they add a little profit, plus fees, plus taxes. And in many cases, if you go over the mileage limit or return the car with too much wear and tear, they charge you even more. So in effect, you are paying for the part of the car's life where it loses the most value. And then when it's done, you have nothing. No trade-in, no resale, no asset, just an empty driveway and the invitation to start all over again. A new lease, another set of payments, another loop, round and round. Now take a moment and breathe, in and out. It's okay. We're just observing, not judging. Leasing is not evil. It can serve a purpose, especially for businesses or people with very specific needs. But for the average person trying to build long-term financial security, leasing often becomes a treadmill. You keep moving, but you don't get ahead. You're always driving a new car, but you're always paying, forever. And so we ask again, is that new car smell really worth it? Or is it just the scent of money slowly evaporating? In our next chapter, we'll look at some simple, realistic strategies for owning a car without wrecking your financial future. We'll talk about used cars, buying with cash, and learning how to let go of the glossy dream that's been carefully sold to us for decades. But for now, let's slow our thoughts. Like a car pulling off a quiet country road. We'll continue in chapter 5. By now, you may be wondering if new cars are so expensive and leasing just leads you in circles. What's left? The answer is simple and maybe a little boring. Buy used, that's it. Not glamorous, not shiny and new, but quietly, smart. Let's break it down. Slowly, carefully, one piece at a time. When you buy a car that's at least 5 years old, you avoid the steepest part of depreciation. That's the part where the car's value falls like a rock off a cliff. In those first 5 years, most cars lose more than half their value. But after that, the decline becomes gentler, slower, more predictable. It's like switching from a roller coaster to a lazy river. Now imagine this. You find a 5-year-old car that originally sold for $20,000. Today, it might cost around $7,400. Same engine, same frame. Still gets you from point A to point B, but at a fraction of the cost. And here's the real trick. Buy it in cash. Paying with cash means no interest, no monthly payments, no lenders, no debt. Just one quiet transaction. And then, it's yours. Completely. You might be thinking, but I don't have $7,400 just lying around. And that's okay. Most people don't. That's why the first step isn't finding the car. It's saving for the car. Start small. Set aside what you can each month. Even $200, even $100. Over time, that savings grows, quietly, like moss on a stone, steady, unnoticed, until one day, it's enough. You don't need a luxury SUV. You don't need heated cup holders or a touchscreen the size of a microwave. You need a car that runs, that gets you to work, to the grocery store, to the places that matter, without sending your bank account into a tailspin. And if you're thinking, but I want something newer, that's okay too. The key is balance. Maybe you buy a car that's 3 years old instead of 5. Maybe you spend a little more, but still pay in cash. The point isn't to be extreme. It's to be intentional. Because every dollar you don't spend on a rapidly depreciating car is a dollar you can spend on something else. Something that grows. Something that matters. Something that helps you rest easy at night. Which brings us to our final thought. Cars are tools, not trophies, not investments, just tools. Buy the one you need, drive it with care, maintain it well, and let it do its quiet, practical job while your money stays safe and your sleep stays undisturbed. In our next chapter, we'll look at the long-term effects of making better car choices and how small decisions today can ripple quietly into a more peaceful future. So now, gently close your eyes and join us in Chapter 6. Take a deep breath in and slowly let it out. We've traveled a long road together, but we're not speeding. We're cruising. Soft tires on smooth pavement. Quiet engine. No rush. Now, let's look at the long road ahead. Not the road you drive on every morning, but the one that stretches through your life. Through your money. Through your time. Through your sleep. Earlier, we talked about how buying a 5-year-old car in cash can save you hundreds of dollars per month compared to financing a new one. But what happens if you take that extra money and do something smart with it? Let's run a very quiet, very sleepy example. Let's say you save $232 a month by buying used instead of new. Just that one decision. Now imagine, you take that amount and gently place it, each month, into a low-cost index fund. Nothing fancy, just a simple investment, growing at an average return of 7% per year. Now let time do the work. In 35 years, your sleepy, boring habit of saving $232 a month would grow into over $420,000. Let that number settle in. $420,000. All from buying a car that already had a birthday or two. You didn't invent anything. You didn't win the lottery. You just made one quiet choice, and you let time carry it forward. This is called compounding, and it's one of the most powerful, peaceful forces in finance. A small decision today, repeated consistently, can build a future that feels nothing like today. It feels lighter, less stressed, more secure. You're not just driving a car, you're driving your future. With less debt, with more savings, with fewer regrets and more options. And maybe, just maybe, you retire a few years earlier. Maybe you say yes to things you used to say no to. Maybe you help your children, or travel, or just sleep better at night. Or because you skipped the brand new car. You chose calm over flash, and you gave your money something better to do. So next time you smell that new car scent, remember what it really is. It's just plastic and vinyl, mixed with evaporating dollars. You can still enjoy the ride. You just don't have to mortgage your future for it. In our next chapter, we'll zoom out even further. Because cars are just one piece of a bigger puzzle. A puzzle called financial independence. But for now, rest easy. You're already on the road. We'll meet you in Chapter 7. Let's begin, as always, with a breath. Inhale deeply and exhale slowly. Let your shoulders relax. Let your mind soften. You're not in traffic. You're not in a dealership. You're somewhere quieter, where time moves gently and your money doesn't slip away unnoticed. So far, we've talked about cars. Used cars, leased cars, depreciation, and how to buy a reliable vehicle without driving your financial life into the ground. But now, let's widen the lens. Let's talk about something bigger, something beyond your driveway. Let's talk about financial independence. What is it? Not a buzzword, not a fantasy, not a luxury for the ultra-rich. Financial independence means having enough money saved or invested that you are no longer dependent on a paycheck to survive. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to retire early. You don't have to stop working. But you do have freedom. Freedom to choose, to breathe, to step away from stress when it's too much, to take a job you actually enjoy, even if it pays a little less, to say yes to time with family, or no to overtime that drains you. And it doesn't start with winning the lottery, or launching a startup, or flipping real estate. It starts with small decisions, tiny habits, repeated over time, like choosing to buy a car that's already lived a little, like saving the difference, like putting that money in a quiet investment and letting it grow. You might think, how can one car decision matter that much? But that's the beauty of it. Financial independence isn't built in a day. It's built one choice at a time. And here's the secret. The less you need, the less you have to earn to reach independence. If your life doesn't require $60,000 a year, maybe you only need $40,000 or even $30,000. That means your investments don't need to grow to millions. They just need to match your version of freedom, which is simpler than most people realize. And now, you've already started. By thinking differently, by driving differently, by questioning the polished story we've all been sold about what success should look like. That's not small. That's not boring. That's powerful. It's slow power. Like rivers carving canyons. Like seeds becoming forests. Like savings becoming freedom. So, as you rest now, know that your brain is holding this idea gently, even while you sleep. Small steps. Long road. Quiet progress. Financial peace. In the next chapter, we'll wrap up our journey. We'll review what we've learned, and we'll send you off into deeper dreams with a soft smile and a steady heart. But first, let's just enjoy this still moment. You're doing just fine. See you soon in Chapter 8. Shh! You've made it. The end of the road. Or maybe just the beginning of a new one. Before we say good night, let's take a slow, quiet look back at the miles we've traveled together. We started with that familiar scent, the new car smell. It's not freedom. It's not success. It's just plastic and chemicals. And a lot of marketing. We discovered how cars lose value as soon as you drive them off the lot. Like ice cream in the sun, they melt in financial worth. We learned that financing a car means paying interest on something that's going downhill in value. And that leasing is just paying to borrow something you'll never own. So we turned the wheel, we looked at used cars. Cars that have already taken a big depreciation hit. Cars that still work, still run, but don't cost your future. Then came the magic. Buying with cash. No interest, no monthly stress. Just one quiet, intentional purchase. And what if you save the money instead? We explored how even a few $100s a month, invested calmly and consistently, could grow into hundreds of thousands of dollars over time. Not by luck, not by hustle, just by being a little boring. And finally, we zoomed out to something even bigger. We talked about financial independence. Not a dream, not a fantasy, just a slow, peaceful result of living a little below your means and letting your money grow quietly over time. And now, here you are. You're not just better informed, you're calmer, more thoughtful. You've slowed your pace, just enough to notice how small decisions shape a big life. So tonight, as your eyes get heavy, as your breathing softens, as the world fades into a sleepy hum, remember, you don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to be perfect with money. You just need to keep choosing the next gentle, thoughtful step. Buy less, save more, rest often, and trust the process. The road to financial peace is long, but you've already started. And sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do for your future is to simply close your eyes and sleep. Good night, driver. You're in control now. We'll be here for the next ride when you're ready. The story is over, but the ride continues. Not on busy highways, not on noisy roads, but somewhere much softer. A gentle cruise, through memory, through stillness, through thought. No more numbers, no more comparisons, no more decisions to make tonight. Just a soft review of the path behind you. You remember that a car is not an investment, that depreciation is real and fast, that borrowing money for something that loses value is like trying to fill a bucket with a hole at the bottom. You remember that buying a used car just 5 years old can be a small act of financial courage, that saving up and paying cash isn't just smart, it's peaceful. Like finishing something before it even begins. You remember that the money you don't spend can be put to quiet, patient work in a place where it grows on its own, without noise, without effort, just time. And you remember that financial independence is not a race, not a finish line, but a slow, peaceful unfolding of freedom, of choice, of breathing room. You may forget the numbers. That's okay. You may forget the percentages. That's okay too. But let this one idea settle in, like a blanket pulled up under your chin. You are allowed to make your financial life quieter. You're allowed to choose the calm path. You're allowed to opt out of the noise, out of the rush, out of the endless upgrades, because peace isn't found in horsepower or high-tech dashboards. It's found in control, in understanding, in slow, steady movement in the direction of your values. So as your mind drifts now, maybe back to a dusty car lot, or a long highway, or a quiet driveway at sunset, let the message of this story gently replay. You don't need more. You just need enough. And you're getting there. One simple choice at a time. So rest now. Let go of the wheel. There's no destination tonight. Just this moment. This breath. This quiet. We'll be here. Next time you want to hear another boring bedtime story. About money. About life. About slowing down. Good night again. You've already done enough. Shh. Let's drift forward now. Not with urgency, not with effort. Just a gentle float into a quiet future. You've lived many years since the day you decided to skip the shiny new car. It felt small at the time, maybe even boring. But it mattered because boring decisions, repeated consistently, built something extraordinary. Let's imagine a morning, not far from now. Sunlight filters through the curtains. The air is still. The clock ticks softly. You wake slowly without an alarm. Because you don't need one. You're not rushing to beat traffic. You're not stressed about bills. You're not dodging debt or scrambling to get ahead. You're already ahead. There's money in your investments. There's no car payment, no interest charges, just options. Today maybe you work, maybe you don't. You might go for a walk. You might help a neighbor. You might build something, write something, read something. Not to earn, but because you want to. That's the future you created. Not by being lucky, not by being perfect, but by choosing, again and again, to live below your means, to say no to the flash, and yes to the future, every used car, every saved dollar, every quiet, sleepy night spent learning instead of spending, brought you here. And the best part? You didn't sacrifice your life. You just adjusted the pace. You didn't chase more. You just embraced enough. You chose peace. And now you live in it. Take a breath and hold that image. Because you're not dreaming. You're simply seeing what's already on the road ahead. You've heard the whole story now. From that first new car smell to a future filled with calm and choice. It was never really about cars. It was about freedom, about the quiet power of doing less and gaining more. As you drift towards sleep now, remember that rest itself is a financial act, because a rested mind makes better choices. And you've made one tonight, to learn, to pause, to slow down. You don't need to memorize anything. You don't need to do it all tomorrow. Just carry this feeling with you. You are capable. You are already on the path. And sometimes the most productive thing you can do is sleep. So pull the covers up, let your eyes fall closed, and let the road fade into stars. We'll be here next time for another boring bedtime story for your money and your mind. Good night.